Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Ruffian Galaxie 500. I'm going to give you my take on this card, including Stage 6 effects and live racing. This card has the Stage 6s in the following order. The strongest one is body, giving it the biggest drop. Closely following body is transmission, which is only a few hundreds different from the body. Following that, you have tire, which is about a tenth less than both body and transmission in effects, but nonetheless, number 3 on the list. Number 4 is nitrous. Nitrous drops about 2/10 from the overall performance. And right behind it is engine. In fact, engine and nitrous are so close, they're almost identical in overall performance impact, with only about a 3,000th difference. Naturally, taking up the rear, we have the standard 2 of the worst Stage 6s that we normally see, which is turbo, followed ultimately by intake. So your order of strongest strength to the weakest is body, transmission, tire, nitrous, engine, turbo, intake. The car starts at Stage 5 only at 8.509 dyno. Once you put all the Stage 6s in, you're looking at 6.988. Now, interesting thing about this car, it does not tune. What do I mean by that? Moving the final drive past 2.0 only drops performance. The same goes for the tire. Moving it to anything less than 0-100 drops performance. Nitrous, same deal. Anything from the rightmost position drops performance. So there is no need for you to really tune the car. So everything about this car when it comes to prior to maxed, it's all about parts. Now certainly if you're not doing live racing with it, or you're just swapping with it in live, having it fully maxed is probably your best bet. 6.9, 6.98 is not great anymore, but it is at least viable and certainly fast enough for good swaps. Now, let's say you actually want to win in live, then what? Well, like any live setup, you want to get rid of the parts that add a ton of performance points first. Generally speaking, you don't want to impact here as much as there, so some of the first things you drop would be something like engine, turbo, and intake. Is this always the best 3 to drop? No. Is it commonly the best 3 to start with? Well, I would say yes. In fact, most of the time when you drop these, with these cars that have high evo, the evo actually goes up. Now, nitrous, again, it's nice to have, but the problem is nitrous also is a big point addition part on the left side, on the performance point side. So therefore, taking that down to Stage 2 gives you a huge drop while increasing the benefits here. So when you get to this point, this is really high numbers with really low performance point already. You can then put tire down, and now you're really looking at some seriously low numbers here. This is one of the strongest starting positions for performance point versus Evo that I've seen in almost any car. So that makes this car in many ways quite excellent as a starter car. Now, the reason I left body and transmission Stage 6 first is, if you notice, performance point went up when I removed transmission. Evo dropped a ton when I removed transmission, right? When you put this in, it drops it a point, it adds a bunch. When you put this in, it drops another point, adds a bunch. So those two Stage 6s are so useful that they should go in if you have them. Now, let's assume you don't have them. Is the car then not good? Absolutely not. At 638 and 2,300 plus Evo points, the car is going to perform just fine when it comes to basic live racing concept. Here, again, the tune. If you start moving this around, you'll notice there will be a little bit of benefit and then immediately tapers off. That's because, again, with lower parts, you can actually get away with something like this. You're talking about 200s difference based on the tuning. It lands in a really solid spot at 10.238 dyno. Personally, I would leave it at the 10.253. It's actually a better number position for this car than 10.238, which could bump you slightly up in the brackets. In fact, even slightly slower at 10.262 would be fine. Assuming all this is done, let's take a look at this car. So you're using no stage 6, generally lower parts, and you have a car that's only got 638 performance points. Let's go back and actually test run it before we take it into live. But with this car, there's some other interesting aspects. The normal way of launching a car typically is you launch perfect, right? And then in this car's situation, you probably will go into second pretty quick, and then third, and then fourth. It probably will never run out past fourth because, again, with the way the gearing's set up, you're not going to have enough power to push past fourth. You run dyno at 10.286, a little bit slower than dyno there. Now, can it do better? Actually, yes, but it's a little trickier to launch when you want to have this car perform better. It needs to launch at about 3,600 RPM. And what that does is give you a 0 RPM drop where you can instantly hit nitrous, and that will add a considerable amount of performance to the car. Considerable to the point where it is now running under dyno by about 0.2. So that puts you at a 10, almost a 10 flat run out of this car with a dyno of 10.253. Now, obviously, if I bump it up a little bit, I could probably have a 10 flat run or even 9.9 run out of this car. I'm not really looking to do that. This is a very solid dyno. It's a solid position to be in, and you can beat dyno if you really want to. The car is going to be viable in live. This is a no stage 6 setup. If you add the 2 stage 6s in, you're going to end up dropping another 0.6 out of your time. That'll put you at about a 9.5, 9.6 dyno. That is not bad either, although I'm not sure I want to necessarily be there. So I'm happy to be at the 10.2 because 10.2 is a good place for any tier 5. It is a faster end of tier 5's cars. I'm sorry, faster end of tier 4 cars, middle to slow end of tier 5 cars, but your tier 5 cars are not gimped in this particular lobby. 10s and 11s tier 5s can start to shine. 11.2 and slower, and even to the 13s, tier 2 cars generally, tier 5 cars generally won't do as well versus tier 4 cars, but by 10.2 you'll do quite well. Now, I guess my mistake not challenging somebody right away. Dragula, let me see. I was trying to find a good target to challenge. This looks like the Performante. Oh no, it's the SE. This is going to be relatively easy for me. The SE unfortunately isn't a good live racer. However, it will give me a good idea of what this lobby's average is. And I suspect it is going to be 10.4 to 10.6. Okay. I slow down a lot because I don't want to win my first race immediately at a fast pace. So 10.7 is what he ran. That's probably all he's going to run. Now, the SC is not the good Urus. I just put a video up for the Performante. That's much better. But it gives you an idea what lobby that you landed in. So if you're going to win, you want to win against a car like this first because it helps you set the lobby. Obviously, I've already used this car in live, so my car's already set. Against a good opponent car like this, okay, 5-star, not quite purple, assuming he knows how to tune, this should be a 10.4 run car, meaning I'm not going to be able to run as slow as I did against the Urus. Whoops. Didn't get the RPM drop. That means my run here is going to be a little worse than before. again, you want to slow down just enough to get the win. And that should be like a 10.5, 10.4 run. Okay. I actually didn't have to run as hard as I had anticipated. Generally speaking, I was expecting this car to run in here 10.5 to 10.4. But that's fine. I'm not complaining here. I got a easy win there. Let's go ahead and take on Groovy Mutt. He has the same car, so I'm actually curious what my car would do against his car. Understand that both cars can beat Dyno if shifted and launched property. So you want to be rather careful here not to overdo it. But let's see what we can do here. We're way ahead, so I'm going to slow down. Okay, that was way faster than I needed to run to win. 10.7. So pretty solidly, looks like I'm pretty solidly in 10.7 lobby with this car. I'm happy with this. This is good with the dyno at 10.2. With the car being able to run 10.0, I can win most of my races in here. That is the strength of this car. Now, be very careful when you first set the car up. You may not be in that slow a lobby. You may land right in a lobby where other cars are running 10.2s. Don't do it. Run a slow run to win first. Once you do that, you're more free to do what you want. But if you go in gun-ho and start running your car as fast as possible, matchmaking is going to screw you. Your car's not going to be as competitive. That's just my tidbit for you. Do what you will with that information. But notice my car is lobbying well and doing well versus guys who run it all out right from the get-go may not do so well long term. So that is the Ruffian Galaxie 500, the Stage 6, the live racing setup. So that's my review of this car. Let me know what you think. Feel free to comment and add your information if I missed anything. Again, Stage 6 is up in the beginning of the video. Watch that part. It is pretty straightforward. Body, trans, tire, nitrous, engine, turbo, intake. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and like this kind of videos, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.